Neo-Nazi jailed for having gunpowder recipe. What, you mean potassium nitrate, charcoal, and sulfur? That one. Anyway, uh, a neo-Nazi paedophile who was jailed 17 years ago for a nail bomb plot has received another prison sentence after admitting owning a gunpowder manual. Martin Gilliard, 49, of Town Street in Armley, Leeds, pleaded guilty in June to a single count of having material likely to be of use to a terrorist, even though you can just Google that. You can just Google it, it's on there. Like, you can just Google that stuff. At Leeds Crown Court on Monday, he was jailed for 7 years and 9 months and will be subject to a 5-year serious crime prevention order plus terrorism notification requirements for 10 years. Gilliard was jailed for 12 years in 2008 for hatching a nail bomb plot and for having indecent images of children, and was released in 2023. Those things he absolutely should have been jailed for. Right, and basically nobody's going to lose any sleep over that guy going down for these things. However, despite who he is, and I'll save it for the bloody end, because I need to choose my words very, very carefully in this, because nobody wants to defend a paedophile, but even they have freedom of speech, unfortunately. But anyway, the gunpowder recipe was found at Gilliard's home address during a West Yorkshire Police intelligence search on 28th of May and was passed to Counter-Terror Police for further investigation. Detective Chief Superintendent James Dunkerley, head of Counter-Terrorism Policing North East, said officers were concerned by the discovery of the handwritten recipe for black powder, later verified by experts as potentially viable. He said someone having information about explosives manufacture would always raise serious questions. Gilliard has chosen not to explain or defend the presence of the recipe in his home, instead pleading guilty to possessing information useful to a person committing or preparing an act of terrorism, he said. At his trial in 2008, the court heard that Humberside Police searched the Goole home of Gilliard, a former forklift truck driver who was also using the name Martin Stone. They found 4 nail bombs, bladed weapons, bullets, documents about terrorism, and extreme right-wing literature. Probably a few peppies on his computer, next to all the child porn. Police also discovered about 39,000 indecent images of children, including film and photographs. Now, here's the little delicate thing about this. Now, the nail bomb plot and the CP absolutely should have gone to prison. Completely understandable. Now, the fact is, the reason that the police were very, very concerned is the fact that this guy had a recipe for gunpowder when he had previously been convicted of planning a nail bomb terror attack. That I completely understand is why he's getting his collar felt. However, just for the possession of the recipe has resulted in him being sent to prison for a very long time. Now, the police might have it out for this guy because he's a neo-Nazi and a paedophile. Right? I totally understand why the police might have it in for this guy. The fact that a paedophile getting some trumped up charges flung against him by the police, nobody is going to lose any sleep over that. However, have you ever seen that clip? Would you cut down the law to get at the devil? Well, when the devil comes for you, what are you going to use if you can't use the law? Like that whole type of thing, right? That's why, like, the fact is, yes, this man is a piece of shit. Yes, he absolutely is a piece of shit. However, we cannot bend the law to go after pieces of shit, right? That's the thing that I'm worried about. Oh, a neo-Nazi paedophile? Yeah, nobody's going to lose any sleep over that guy getting sent away for just possessing some words on a page, right? Like, nobody's going to lose any sleep over that, and that's how this stuff starts to creep. That's how the stuff starts to creep in. So the nail bomb plot, the CP, absolutely he should have gone to prison for all of that stuff. The fact that he had a gunpowder recipe when he was previously planning an explosive terrorist attack with nail bombs, completely understand why the terror police gave him a little knock at the door. Completely understand that. However, a multi-year sentence just for possessing the recipe, no. Absolutely not. Because that cases like this are usually the tester. They're usually the tester, but it's like, neo-Nazi paedophile, nobody's going to lose any sleep. There's not going to be any public backlash. There's not going to be any blowback. There's not going to be any of that stuff at all, right? And then what will happen is they start arresting the next person, the next person, the next person, the next person. Oh, but it was fine before. And then you get people like, someone might just be a little bit interested in science. Some of you might be little edgy boys that downloaded that PDF of the Anarchist Cookbook, even though I've got my copy, just my actual physical copy, literally sitting on the shelf right over there, right? But still, like, it shouldn't be a crime just to possess that. It shouldn't be. It definitely shouldn't be, especially not under the Terrorism Act, which basically was just a universal fuck your rights to every single person in this country, right? So I'm choosing my words very, very carefully. This man should not have been sent to prison just for possessing that information. But I do want it on the record that I am saying that through gritted teeth.